Now, all you people, I want you to set those headphones down. Get up. I said, get up off your chairs and sing it with me one time. One time. It don't cost nothing, but you feel real good. But here we go. It's the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. Yes, it's the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. Oh yes, let's all get used at the director's garage.
Well, they say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Might as well be here, right? Tip them up. Tip them up, boys. It's time. It's time for the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout here at the Director's Garage Live. We are live across the world. Noble, FoKus, Apollo, brilliant. True Wireless, IEM. More on Noble coming up in this very episode. So excited. How's everybody doing today? Cheers, y'all. Or should I say, cheers, y'all. Shameless. How y'all doing? Okay. Yeah, we got a lot to do today. We got a lot of stuff happening. We're going to talk a little bit about two deaths that really kind of suck. In the music world, that just, man, it just got me digging through old tracks in the last couple days, and man, what a loss, what losses. And then we're going to go into a new product from Noble. I have a lot of information on it. And then we've got this coming. Sorry. Didn't mean to reach across. That was not very nice. Oh, there, look, there's my show. This right here, we're going to open this package right here, which has got some new merch in it, apparently, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what it is. I'm going to turn that light off for now because batteries cost that thing. These things suck battery and it'll be gone by the time we get there. So let's just jump right into it while we're waiting for folks to pop in. Today we lost Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, the genius behind Pet Sounds, really the sound of summer, surf music. You just think about Surfing USA and Surf City and, that whole beach sound of the early 60s that gave way to the brilliance of the later years, the later 60s, when he went into sort of I guess you would call it psychedelic, but it wasn't psychedelic music. It was just beautiful music. And stuff that became a soundtrack for our lives. It was, if you remember, let's talk about first those early years and that surf sound that emerged it came out of Southern California, from the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean and, those great groups from the early 60s. And it was a specific sound, and it really sort of put Los Angeles and the beaches out here as a tourist destination, because everybody wanted to come and see what it was all about and check out that culture of surfing, and it became a huge thing across America. A huge tidal wave, as it were, of bad pun, but that was Brian. That was Brian's doing. Brian came up with that idea and those sounds, and some of it sort of was culled together from other music that was happening at the time, and he put his own spin on it. But, you know, I just think about what happened in '65 that changed the world. It was Brian having this wish to do more meaningful music, more personal music, because that was sort of what Dylan ushered in, this era of personal songs. And the Beach Boys did some covers of, you know, Times They Are Changing and stuff like that. A little bit of an irreverent version of it, but he couldn't get the sounds he wanted out of the band. Got the harmonies he wanted, but he didn't get the sounds he wanted, and it led him to working more closely. The legend of the Wrecking Crew, and how the Wrecking Crew became sort of the Beach Boys studio band. He had been working with different folks. Hal Blaine appeared on Beach Boys records, you know, almost from the very beginning. And Glenn Campbell was there. It was a, you know, guitarist and bass player for them. But it was when he met and started working with Carol Kaye that things changed. And I have a very specific example of this. In '65, I want to say it was '64 or '65, the Beach Boys released Summer Days and Summer Nights, and it had the song California Girls on it, and then also Help Me Rhonda. And Help Me Rhonda is the song I want to call attention to. Help Me Rhonda was released a year before on a different album, and it was released on the album prior called Beach Boys Today, or it's maybe the two albums before, Beach Boys Today. And listen to the two versions of Help Me Rhonda. And the first version is slower, didn't make it as a single. But then listen to the one off of Summer Days and Summer Nights. And you'll hear the difference that bringing in bassist Carol Kaye made to the group. And you hear her work on California Girls too. That melodic, loping bass line. And she did the same thing on Help Me Rhonda. If you listen to the first version of Help Me Rhonda, that was, I think, maybe even Glenn Campbell played bass on it, but it was a very straightforward bass line. And when you listen to the single version that came out on Summer Days and Summer Nights, the bass line has this McCartney-esque slope to it. It's a bouncing bass that's extremely melodic, and it became the signature that laid the framework for what became Pet Sounds and the greatness of that record, which is clearly his, you know, the magnum opus, the big gun. It's the one that made the Beatles do Sgt. Pepper's. The Beatles heard Pet Sounds and responded with Sgt. Pepper's, and Brian was listening to the Beatles, and they were bouncing off of each other, and the Beatles were, you know, riff masters. If you listen to go back to the album before, two albums before Sgt. Pepper, which was Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul was Dylan. That was their response to Dylan and the influence of Dylan. And they met Dylan. Dylan came to, there's all kinds of footage of the Beatles with Dylan in London. And there's a famous backseat car ride with John Lennon and Bob Dylan, both just whacked out of their mind on heroin. And it's the most loopy discussion. But anyway, the Beach Boys were trying to evolve, And Brian went into the studio and he hooked up with really more of the Wrecking Crew and really started using the Wrecking Crew as the main Beach Boys studio band. And the boys were brought in to do the harmonies. There's no, it's not like the Beach Boys weren't singing on their own records. It's just musically they were less capable of doing what the Wrecking Crew could do in the studio. And Carol Kaye was the bottom, the absolute start and end of what pushed the Beach Boys into their next era. Because if you listen to California Girls, which was kind of the shot heard around the world, it's sort of like when the Beatles released Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. That was the, it wasn't included on Sgt. Pepper, but it was the single that announced, hey, we're changing direction here. And definitely California Girls was the song that changed their direction. That was it announced, hey, I'm taking us musically where we haven't gone before, because it was an orchestrated track. They'd never done stuff like that before. And it set up this sort of like, it cocked the pistol for what became Pet Sounds, which was, obviously this mind-blowing record. And all of those songs off of Pet Sounds, from Sloop John B to Caroline No and Wouldn't It Be Nice? And I mean, it's one of the great albums in the halls of albums. It's just phenomenal. So important to our world. And unfortunately, Brian got involved with drugs, and it really affected his ability to produce. And some of that is psychological, and there were psychological problems happening, and drugs were not helping that, and it was actually exacerbating the situation. Really sad, but he gave us that album, and there's music before Pet Sounds and music after Pet Sounds, and music was never the same after that, because it changed and influenced everything that came after it. And he was affected and changed by the music that came before it. They were all pushing each other, and it was just brilliant. It's just that's a shot heard around the world. But it was interesting to me to go back and listen to these early records and start hearing where the Beach Boys sound changed. And it was really, to me, it was when Carol Kaye took over on bass and started laying down those bass lines, because you listen to California Girls, it's not the same with a different bass line. And it's this lyrical, it's My Girl, it's, Ted Templeton, it's, that important of a change in the sound of the Beach Boys. And it came because they got this extremely talented and gifted and lyrical bassist who could come up with ideas and riffs that would spark imagination, and it's really something to hear. Go listen to those two versions of Help Me Rhonda. It tells you everything you need to know about how they got to Pet Sounds from beach music. It's really something. The other person that we lost, and put your comments in the, well, you have Beach Boys memories, you have a favorite Beach Boys song, whatever, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear and talk about that today, because he is one of the great geniuses of our time, and we lost him today. So that's really sad. And I know his daughter Carney, I've known for years, and I got to get her a message. But it's just unbelievable. Got me thinking and listening to old Beach Boys music today. The other thing I'd been listening to earlier this week was Sly Stone. Sly Stone was around to see the birth of funk and James Brown, and he really took that to another level. He brought it to rock music. Yeah, I think of James Brown, what Miles Davis evolved into, Miles's sound, and Sly Stone, really a trilogy there, a pyramid that of phenomenal genius songwriting and taking music in a very interesting, different direction. James was pure show. Sly was mystery. He had this party, yes, but mysterious persona. He was a bit of a recluse, and he had a drug issue too. He had a big drug issue. And you can hear where drugs kind of took over his life. You can hear it in the albums as the albums progressed. Listen to listen when you get to I won't say there's a riot going on. When you hear that album, it took a very dark turn. Like, it's a very much darker album from Everyday People and, you know, the lighter, the more poppy dancing stuff that he was doing prior. And the songs got longer. But anyway, Sly he had hard funk. It was like he took that funk sound, that 4/5 sound, and the turning around of beats and that jumping bass line, and later added the wah guitar kind of sound that became so signature of the 70s with the theme from SWAT and all that. But he involved that in his music, you know, earlier on. And you know, he started with these cohesive, tighter pop songs that had, and I always think about Sly and I think about the Temptations. And I wonder if they were influencing each other or if one took more influence from the other. Because the Temptations were, you know, they were a classic Motown sound. But then they took a turn around 1968, 69. And I wonder if it wasn't because of Sly Stone that the Temptations went off and started doing Psychedelic Shack and some of those, you know, that later era Temptations, later 60s era Temptations, because it does mirror sort of what Sly was doing on the West Coast. And just an amazing, gifted talent with an ear for melody and and excitement. He introduced an integrated, racially integrated band that nobody was doing back then, and it just sort of was a unifying force. And at the same time, he was very political. And sorry, I'm gonna turn that away. That was my mom. Hang on, let me just type something to Mom so she doesn't think I'm ignoring her. Call you in a bit. Live on YouTube now. Sly Stone, you know, and he was also cool. I mean, that was the other thing, is he was one of the coolest guys around. You know, the flash and the sequins and the you know, just a showman. But I think back to really where I first probably crossed him was at Woodstock, the Woodstock movie, and singing Higher, and I Want to Take You Higher, and those great songs from then. And I just remember that jam and how powerful it was, and just blew up Woodstock, man. He was definitely, you know, one of the highlights in a set of incredible highlights. Huge, just a huge performer and a visionary. When you look at who he influenced, Stevie Wonder, you know, went into the 70s, you know, changed his whole sound, and couldn't help but note the similarities and the influences of Sly Stone on Stevie Wonder and his sound as he evolved into the 70s, and Songs in the Key of Life, and you know, all those important records that came in the early 70s from Stevie. It's directly influenced by Sly Stone. There's, to me anyway, to my ears, I can hear it. Dance to the Music, you know, phenomenal. Playing with turning beats around and call and response, syncopation, phenomenal. I Want to Take You Higher, obviously. Everyday People, that was, to me, one of his pinnacle moments, because it was such a unifying song. The message was unifying, and the song had this, I don't know, like, it's like What a Wonderful World. It's that much of an impact, you know. Phenomenal. And then it got darker when he went to the next album. Like I said, it was you could hear the drug influences on that album with Family Affair, the Riot. It's a riot. There's a riot going on. Was that the name of the record? I'm afraid to start Ruin because it's going to take over my audio system. but yeah, I just important important musician, and unfortunately we didn't get to hear him evolve the way maybe he could have because of the drugs and the drug use and all that, and he really sort of retreated from his fame a bit, disappeared for years on end, and then would come out and perform, and we'd see him. But it was a shame. But you talk about people that he influenced: George Clinton, Jimmy Jam, Andre 3000, Chaka Khan. All these phenomenal 70s, 80s, 90s into the 2000s. They all credit Sly for changing the way they approached music. Hot Fun in the Summertime. Yeah, that's phenomenal. What a great, just amazing musician and writer. Prince, Prince is such a student of Sly Stone. When you hear what he was doing in the late 70s and all through the 90s, this is really, he had a bit of Sly's persona in that reclusive yet frontman approach to performing. Phenomenal. And yet, Prince had the benefit of having the musical gift of Jimi Hendrix as a guitarist. Like he just had that. I don't know. He's one of the most underappreciated guitarists of our era. Everybody talks about him as a showman and doing dance music and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, the dude could play guitar like nobody else. He was a phenomenal guitarist, one of the great guitarists of my lifetime. Certainly top 5, top 10. Unbelievable guitarist. Fantastic. But those are my thoughts today. Went back and listened to a lot of the old Sly Stone music, and certainly today I went back and just kind of was vibing on Brian Wilson's Beach Boys music, and really got interested in that turn and listening to some tracks and where did it change, and it really was his commitment, full commitment to the Wrecking Crew and changing their ability to produce what was in his head musically, and it changed because the band couldn't keep up with his genius, the Beach Boys themselves, and they could all play, and they all still do play, but they just weren't of that musicianship to pull the Pet Sounds out. So it was really interesting to hear, and to hear those two tracks. I really forgot that there were two versions of Help Me Rhonda, and to hear the version that Carol Kay played on and then hear the version that Glenn Campbell played bass on, it's like they're two different tracks. They're not even close. They up the tempo, they have this melodic bass going through the song, and it's the version that became the big hit. So it's something you can pinpoint and actually hear, and that's fun to do as students of this stuff, So that's my intro today. I wanted to talk about those two musicians, and please put your comments in the chat if you have favorite, if you saw them live ever. I saw Brian with the Beach Boys probably about 10 years ago, maybe, at the Hollywood Bowl for a 4th of July thing, and he came out and he played some songs, and he was not, his later years, it was nice to see him, but he was not the singer nor the performer that he was when he was younger. And I wouldn't know because I never got the chance to see him in his prime, other than from films and YouTube and that kind of thing. And we've all seen the movies and the documentaries on him, and what an amazing mind he had. Gonna miss him, and certainly Sly Stone, man, with two geniuses in very different lanes, and it was just fantastic. Just fantastic stuff, all of it. Great to listen to. So let's go through some chat, and then I'm going to talk about Noble, these guys, FoKus Pro makers, Apollo Pro makers. and their new release that came out today for pre-order. I got some info on it and some inside stuff, so we'll talk about that. Cheeky Fest, hi! Cheers, my brother. Cheers. Got some merch coming in this episode, too. Chi, y'all, says I'm Orange, 11:30 here. It's at night, yeah, because you're over in the London town. Working a bit. Ken Workshop in the house today. Good to hear. Good to see. Hope y'all are doing well. Ken, cheers, my brother. Missed you on the last couple of Hangover Hangouts. He brings so much to the discussion. He, Jonathan, Sajan from Hipster Cow, all important. Ryan Dietz in the house today. Cheers, my brother. Monica and Ryan. The only reason that I don't show your mod house, when I'm on the live stream as much, is because the amp that drives this particular spigot is a tiny little amp, and it does not push those mod houses at all. Or I'd show them off occasionally in the live stream. You just can't hear it. I can't get enough volume out of them to actually tell what my mix is. The Ramones were heavily influenced by the Beach Boys. You wouldn't think so, but when you start breaking down what they were doing, you could, the faster bass, and Brian was influenced by everybody from Phil Spector and the Wall of Sound, all of that. Phil Spector is a direct, lineage wise, that leads right into punk. Phil's Wall of Sound was very important in the birth and the development of punk. Important stuff. For music files, if you like musicology and history, all this stuff ties together. You just got to find the threads and where they were influenced. New Audio Moves recently sold. New Audio Moves recently sold his Abyss Diana Phi TC and purchased an Audeze LCD-4. So you're giving up a punchier, more mid-range sound for a smoother, lusher sound. I like it. I'm actually considering selling off my Abyss 1266 TC and its superconductor cable. I actually started putting some thought to that this week. I may do it. That's a move I might make, and it's going to mean I take a massive hit, because I think I paid $4,000 just for the headphone. And then I bought the superconductor on top of it. I think I'll be lucky if I get $4,000 for the pair. Wooden box is the whole thing, but man, it's a shame. But I think I'm feeling like it might be time to move on from the 1266. I was listening to some stuff this week, and although the bass is still that hypnotic bass, I can get it elsewhere now, and the mid-range on the 1266 doesn't suit my taste. It's a boxy mid-range, and I think I'm going to the point where it's time to let those go. So I might be putting those the Abyss 1266 up in the near future here. TC. What's the best film based on Brian Wilson's life? Probably Love and Mercy. Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Genius songwriter, lyrics, melodies, arrangement, all of it. What about the Smile album? Well, that was the one that broke him. It was the follow-up to Pet Sounds, and he was trying to do that Smile record, and they wound up cobbling together songs out of it, but he had a nervous breakdown over it. And that's not uncommon in that era. I mean, the guys, you look at The Who, and Pete Townsend suffered a nervous breakdown from Lifehouse, which became Who's Next, one of the great classic albums of the 70s. That was a compilation of the failed Lifehouse, which was basically a rock opera about what the internet and social media became 40 years later. 50 years later. That's the concept behind Lifehouse. And he had it in his head where computers were going, and where, how we were going to have this consciousness online, collective consciousness, and he had this opera about it, but he couldn't have it as much as he tried, he couldn't have it make sense, and it wound up breaking him. But out of that came the phenomenal Who's Next album with Bob O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again and Going Mobile and Behind Blue Eyes and Bargain. I mean, all those amazing. My Wife, even the John Entwistle song is phenomenal on that record. Song Is Over. Fantastic record. Fantastic record. Getting in tune. I think I've listed all of them. Hot Fun in the Summertime is a great song by Sly. Absolutely. Yeah, that's just great. I mean, it's a shame that, you know, we're seeing these icons fall, and I'm like, you just don't think about the days when this will happen. There's always the shock of losing someone like Kurt Cobain, and, you know, we've had some of those guys in their prime go, you know, disappear. Certainly John Lennon was the one that I remember most who died first, but that was different, I guess. It's just like the era is changing, you know, and there's nobody on the backside that seems to be pulling up that, you know, taking up that bridle and running and pulling music in that direction anymore. The music is in a very different direction now. Nobody writes bridges. It's the biggest problem is you know, hearing music change, the structure of songs changing is as upsetting for me as the artists. Write a bridge, folks. Put a bridge in your song. It's gonna make a difference, trust me. Interesting stories about these two artists. Unfortunately, he's never heard of either. Yeah, I know Neil is a classical guy. He doesn't listen to that. But Nephilim's Making Pet Sounds. Rest in peace, Mr. Wilson. God only knows who you are, who are with you now. Yeah, with him now. Oh, some greats we've lost along the way. Also, Sajan, great moves, buddy. I heard nice things about the LCD-24. Diana TC has some bite in the upper mids. Didn't like them when he heard them. I haven't heard the TC yet. That's one of those headphones that I've wanted to get in here and just haven't. And I don't have like a great relationship or any relationship with the Abyss folks, so I don't think they'll be sending them over for me to check out anytime soon. Maybe they will. Who knows? I need another 5,000 subscribers. Subscribe and like, folks. Cheers. Oh, man. Diana's had a cool party trick. Every amp you plugged him into sounded wildly different. However, he never found himself listening to them. Yeah, I've gone to, like I said, I pulled out the Abyss last week. I was really kind of going through, I don't know if it was Southern Rock, what I was listening to, but I was listening to something. So I kind of went on a Southern Rock bend, as I've been telling you guys over these past few weeks. Yeah, the mid-range is just not quite there on the TC for me. It's just very forward and spiky to me. It sounds like I've got peaks all over the place, and they give this quality to the mids that's not very smooth. And makes it punch forward a bit in certain frequencies. I'm just not a big fan of them right now. But my taste, every time I get ready to make one of these moves, and then I find something I really like, and I'm like, oh, geez, I don't want to lose them for this. But I'm thinking about it. That's probably the next move I make, headphone-wise. I've got to get rid of some stock anyway. I've got a lot of headphones here. Too many, really. And I've got debts. I've got to pay Ray Samuels. Bless him. He's the best man for being patient with me while I'm looking for work. Cheeky Fest says, do we still have any icons? This is a boss count. Dylan, well, we still have Dylan. I guess Springsteen is an icon, but I mean, I don't... How much relevant... outside of the 9/11 album he came out with, which was... arguably, an important record. Once you get to Born in the USA, that album, the impact of his music, like he wrote how do I say this? He wrote meaningful songs on Born in the USA, but the packaging of those songs was so commercial and pop, I think they lost their impact over, say, an album like The River or Darkness on the Edge of Town or Born to Run or, you know, Greetings from Asbury Park. I just don't think, I think that album was sort of the turning point for Bruce Springsteen. It took him from that poet status, and I guess, you know, Dylan maintained the poet status even though he made turns and twists in his sound. But interesting. I don't know that I would put The Boss in the category with Dylan. Dylan still wrote acerbic and poignant music, even into the 80s. If you listen to Infidels, it's a very interesting record. It's got a more modern sound on it for Dylan, but it's an interesting record. And even in the 90s, he kind of went back a little bit in his sound, regressed his sound a bit. Very interesting records in the 90s from Dylan. Won a couple Grammys along the way, too. Boy, listen to, what was that? Remember the movie The Wonder Boys? What a great Dylan track is on that for the credits. That was in like early 2000s. Phenomenal. Anyway, Cheeky Fest, the Stones, McCartney. Yeah, I guess they're icons. I don't know that they're cultural. McCartney certainly, but you know. I'm just starting to think of like that person, like that type of icon. You know, Keith and Mick, I guess, were they're so identifiable as the Stones' writing force. I don't know, maybe it's not one person, it's the combo of those two. Anyway, Michael, question about the Abyss. Did you prefer towing them in or towing them out on the headband adjustment? I really do get your feelings on the mid-range. The bass is cool on them, but they can't, you know, they can be beat. Yeah, I would say, you know, I was a towing in. I like the tow in on them. I also am a firm believer in breaking the seal on that headphone. It's a headphone that's meant to rest loosely on your head. Do I have them out? No, I don't see them. I think they're over in the bin over there. Yeah, I believe firmly in they need to have the seal broken, and I know they've just introduced new pads for that headphone that seal, but I'm like, you're missing the experience on the Abyss if you seal the headphone. I mean, then it becomes really mid-range and you lose all the fun bass. So I don't know. But for me, I think that the mid-range just it's making me consider like maybe it's time to move on from this headphone and just take the hit and take the loss on them and go with it. We're going to talk about a new headphone from these folks, the folks at the Crown, Noble Audio. If you missed it, they've got a new product out, and it's out today for pre-order. And it's red. It's a red. Whoops, that's the overhead. Let's do that again. Let's go back. Damn it. You know, guys, I try to do something fancy schmancy, and I just flub it every time. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, so it's red. It's called the Noble FoKus Amadeus. Now, here's what's cool about the Amadeus. If you like the sound of a single dynamic driver, that's what this headphone does. It's sold out already. No, I don't know. It's just not for sale yet, I don't think. But it is a single. What I know about this headphone is, I mean, first of all, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's another just. When you start seeing, you know, you think you've found a nice red take on a headphone, and then you see what Noble does with something. It's like, it's just another level. It's just like, look at those face plates. You look at just build on them. It's just fantastic. I love this. I mean, think about this, and then I look back at that Ray Samuels amp, and I'm like, they kind of go together, man. What's the deal on these? Well, first of all, it's a Single driver, single dynamic driver. It's got 3 layers on it though. The innermost layer is a solid metal, and then the middle part of the driver is ceramic, and then the outer edge of the driver is a thin membrane. So it gives you a very interesting tonal quality in that this thin membrane is moving fast, and it gives you those crisp highs, and then the metal innermost part is providing that deeper bass. So they're getting some different characteristics out of these. And I actually spoke with both. I spoke on the phone with Dr. John Moulton. He's in Shanghai right now. He's in China. And I spoke with, and then I texted back and forth with Kai Moulton. Kai says that the overall presentation of this Amadeus is smoother. He says it's a smoother presentation because it is a single dynamic driver, and he says that the Rex 5 goes a little deeper into the bass than this. This is an ANC headphone, by the way. It's got great battery life, 12 hours and 8 hours with and without the ANC enabled. It's got ANC on it. The Rex 5 has ANC on it. I got that wrong last week, and somebody called me out on it. They were correct. The Rex 5 is an ANC headphone. It's got 5 drivers in it. This has 1 driver in it. So this is a cheaper alternative. John was telling me that this is sort of more in the line of what Technics is doing with their new AZ100 headphone. He sees it as kind of a competitor to that. And that's sort of where they were putting this in their lineup, in their heads anyway, when they were thinking about it. And if you're in the market for a $300 headphone, you can go with that Technics, new Technics IEM, or this is sort of gives you a similar sound. It gives you the Noble sound and the Noble form factor, which is, certainly nobody can do construction like Noble does. And it gives you that personalized sort of feel to it. Still mass produced, and he's using molds and stuff. These aren't hand painted or anything, but they are interesting and beautiful. And so Kai was telling me that the Rex 5 has stronger bass, and John was telling me that the Rex 5 has a brighter, cleaner top end. So this sounds to me like it's a smoother headphone, kind of an all-rounder for kicking around, and it doesn't carry the price tag of the others either. It's $320, which is around where the Mystique was selling for. And I'd be interested to hear these. I'm definitely interested in the Rex 5 first because it's the next lane for, it's the next move up from my favorite, which is the Noble Mystique. But I'm a huge fanboy of Noble. I make no bones about it. I don't short sell that idea to anybody's hand. I just happen to love Noble stuff, and I think every time they come out with something, I'm impressed by every release. In fact, the only headphone they've released that didn't impress me was the what was that one that came out a few months ago? Maybe I can find it online here. The Triumph. Triumph to me was the only Noble miss I've had where I thought, nah, this one isn't for me. And this is their first foray into XMEMS technology with a true wireless setup where it's got the all the doodads from the Bluetooth. So this headphone didn't quite do it for me. I was not a fan of the sound of these, but I'm dying to hear the Rex 5, and I'm certainly dying to hear the Amadeus because John was telling me that he carries around the Amadeus. That's his daily driver, and he's got a good ear. So if it's exciting to him what a single driver can do at the $300 price point, that's good enough for me. It's something I want to hear for sure. But I'm excited about this one, and I also hinted that there's more coming this year from Noble. They are not done with their product line for the year, and I'm excited to see what else is coming from them. But I really want to get my ears on the Rex 5, and this is their new release. It just came out today, and I did want to get some insight on that. And they told me about this new type of, it's a triple layer 8.3 millimeter dynamic driver. And that makes sense to me that it doesn't go as low. You start hearing about some of these other dynamic drivers and they're like over 10 millimeters. So I can see where it maybe doesn't give you that lower end in the way that, say, a Rex 5 might, or even these Mystiques, but a smoother overall presentation, and it's something that's a lot of fun to listen to. So count me in on that, and the price is good on these. I would certainly look at these in front of the Triumph from if I was guiding somebody into, you know, getting into the Noble sound. This is a pretty good place to start, it would seem to me. But very interesting design and a simplified driver, but a very complicated driver when you think about it. We've got 3 layers on one driver, all doing different things with different frequencies, and it all somehow comes out and works well. I don't know. Those geniuses, man. I can't build these things myself, but very interesting. Okay, let's go back to the chat, then we will open up this thing. Let's figure out what the hell it is. I don't know what it is. I can't. This has been sitting around here. I had this on last Friday, but I didn't realize that... oh, somebody's texting me. Oh, that's our group. Okay. That's our group chat for the block. Somebody came around selling solar panels today. I'm like, we're selling our house. Not interested. Slam. Too much. Okay, let's get back to the chat and then we'll check out. This is sitting around. I just forgot that I had it. So it gives us something to open today. Check out before we get off the air. Okay, where are we at? Neil, did you end up... Okay, we're going to miss something here. Neil says, during the 50s and 60s, his icon heroes were Sarah Vaughan, Lena Horne, Billy Eckstine, Nancy Wilson, Johnny Mathis, Nat King Cole. For me, I've always been a fan of Billie Holiday. I'm such a huge Billie Holiday fan. She's like, oh, she's everything with that voice. It's a haunting voice. I just loved it, man. No head bobbing with the Abyss. You gotta be a damn robot listening to music. He doesn't like that. I groove, boys, I groove. I pictured Nephilim dancing around, doing his flash dance, best flash dance while listening to headphones. Neil sold his B21. Yes, we knew that. What did you move on to? Night All, Cheeky Fest bowing out. Cheers, my brother. Thank you for stopping by today. Went to bed too late 3 nights in a row. Need to claw back some sleep. Understood, man. Take care of yourself. Health over headphones, always. Awaiting a Cord Alto. Gonna try that with his, and he's trying to sell his X9000. Well, yeah, without I'm just shocked you don't love that headphone. That surprises me, Neil, because you love in classical music like you do. The X9000 is one of the better ones out there for classical, but I understand you have specific things you have to have in your lineup for hearing. Very cool, Neil Snyder. Let us know when you get it and tell us what you think. Anyone check out the WA33 Gen 2 Elite Edition. Good gravy. Gonna need a bigger boat. Yeah, that's a big one. And it was in the stereo file. They reviewed finally the 24 WA24, the new one that came out last year. Ginger Hermit likes the Triumph X-Mem wireless. He thinks they're great. Boy, I don't know. That one didn't connect with me. I just think they were kind of brightish sounding. They didn't have that full spectrum the way some of the other Nobles did. But fast, yeah, I would agree with that. I think they were fast, but they just were too technical and they lacked some of the romanticism of some of the other Noble offerings. But that's the thing about these headphones, is there's something for everybody. And I don't think just because I didn't like a particular headphone doesn't mean it's a bad headphone. It just means it didn't work for me. And I'm not afraid to say that. I won't just pan a headphone. I'll try and tell you who it's for if it's not for me. Rex 5s are great. He's a big fan of what he heard. I want to hear him badly. That's on my short list. Is the Amadeus above expectations? How does it compare to the FoKus Rex 5 or Prestige? Well, my understanding of the Prestige is the old FoKus Pro with hand-painted. It's a hand-painted version of the FoKus Pro, which is the predecessor to the Mystique. And I preferred the Mystique over the FoKus Pro. The Prestige was hand-painted, though. It's gorgeous to look at. And, you know, if you wanted just something that was pure bling, you know, you got a one-off amazing looking headphone in the Prestige. The Rex 5, what they're telling me about the Amadeus is that it doesn't stand out in the highs. It doesn't have like brilliant, crispy, ultra-fast highs, and it doesn't have deep lows. However, it's a very smoothly shaped sound. So I kind of think it might be more like an atrium of IEMs. Like it's not going to blow you away. They're still extreme, but they're so pleasing to listen to music to that you want to keep listening to them. And I think that's the thing that I love about the Atrium, that just I still go back to that headphone time and time again. And it's because it does so much so well, yet it doesn't it's not going to blow me away in speed. It doesn't give me the crispest, bleeding edge of notes. But the overall presentation of that headphone is so special. And the more I listen to that headphone, the more I appreciate it. And I think that that's sort of where they're at in the lane with this Amadeus. It's not going to be a technical wonder. It's going to be a great musical set of IEMs at a reasonable price, you know. So if you're looking to get into the Noble sound, but you don't want to have the money for the Rex 5, these Amadeus would be a great alternative. And if you don't want something that's, you know, overly crisp and pushing that top end too much, it seems like the Amadeus is the place to go. Is the FoKus Amadeus above expectations? I don't know if it's above expectations. Nobody's heard them, except the folks at Noble as of now. But it's something that's coming. It's not even for sale yet. I'd love a Rex 5, but no volume for me. Deafness is a bitch. It's a small white pillow. What I miss? I missed something there. Neil, I wonder if Noble would make you a custom pair that corrects anything you need. They probably would. UE used to do that, something like that, but the guy who headed it moved up to a different job. Yeah. Guys, my music rec this week is Hans Zimmer, Last Samurai motion picture score. Just amazing. But Hans is amazing, is an amazing composer. And the nice thing about soundtracks are the production that they put into them. I mean, they spend so much money on soundtracks, on recording them. They're usually pretty superior recordings. The downside is, you know, it's just music. But yeah, I can see that, and a lot, you know, soundtracks are great though. It's a nice thing to listen to sometimes. I haven't been in a soundtrack kick in a long time though. I'll be to be perfectly fair. Neil Ken, he's happy with his Forte Ears Macbeth and custom for audio Radon 6. Well, if you're happy with something, stick with it. For God's sakes. Of course, I'm telling this to Neil, who changes amps like he changes underwear. Frequently, sometimes live on the air. I heard the WA3 Gen 2 with the RAL Imanis last weekend. It was a great combo, but the Riv still bested it. I love that, man. I love that you're pushing those edges, pushing those boundaries. I still, you know, want to get into the RAL stuff. And I would love to do it before I move, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, guys. I just haven't had time to make episodes. Neil, very cool. Happy listening. Oh, hipster, you are on. A man after his own heart, would love to try that pairing. Still have to hear the Imanis. I've had the benefit of listening to it several times. I listened to Jonathan's Imanis, and I've heard it at CanJam as well. Fantastic headphone. Really a different level, you know, different take on what headphones can do. Kenny has a custom-built analog balance control by Ray Samuels, essential part of his gear. Gil Renard, cheers, my brother. Stop by. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Just added Flux Lab Acoustics M Field to his extremely modest collection here. It sounded more or less like his normal on his 4-screw HE6 until he switched to high gain. Really full without losing highs. Well, you got to have that high gain for those HE6s, boys. Neil doesn't wear underwear. Well, speaking of clothing, oh boy, that was a bad transition, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Let's check out some merch. This just came in. This came in a while ago, but I missed it last Friday, and I don't know what's in it. So I'm going to go to the overhead camera. We've got to get a light on this so we can see it adequately. Here's my mug. You guys know about all this stuff. I'll tell you how to buy this shit in a minute. Relax, folks, relax. We're going to go check out some new stuff. So this is around. I don't want to cut into this because it feels fabricy, and I don't want to cut up any merch. That would be bad form. Bad form, boys. And don't cut up any fingers either while we're at it. All right, that's enough. We can get this out. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, it's one of the hoodies came. This is the hoodie. I forgot that I ordered this, but I wanted to check it out. So here's the hoodie. It's got a much larger logo on it. Maybe too large. Maybe that's too large. What do you think, guys? But everybody wanted a hoodie. This is the zipper version. There's a zipper and an unzippered version of this. Does this have anything? And then on the back, it's got Music is Life up there. Very cool on the back of the hood. Anything on the sleeves? Did I do anything special on the sleeves? No. Nothing on the sleeves. Nothing on the shoulders. Just making sure, because sometimes I was designing this stuff and I put stuff on in various places, but not there. Okay, so you've got a silkscreened logo on the lapel, and then on the back it's got, below the hood, it's got Music is Life, which I really like. I love that phrase. And it's a nice thick material. I'm happy with the material. This is a cotton, breathable. Give you scale. Here's the current logo, and then this is a little bit of a larger dealio on this. I kind of like it. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, but this is fun. I would wear this right now. Well, I can wear it right now, but my God, is it warm in here right now in the studio. I've got the air conditioning cranked, got all the lights on. We've got cameras and all this stuff. I like it. I like it. Very nice. Very cool. All right. Well, in the winter, this is going to be great. Good sizing. Feels comfortable. And, you know, if I want to be my inner Obi-Wan Kenobi, I can go for it. Very cool. Very cool. So, no embroidery on this one. They wouldn't embroider it for me. So if I find a better version of this where I can get an embroidered logo, I will go for it. But right now it's silkscreen on this version. So there you go. I'm a big fan of embroidery, as you know, boys. I prefer the embroidered logo, but it's hard to find vendors that will do that for you. So for now, we're going silkscreen on the zip-up version of this, anyway. But there you go. Oh, it was fun. I didn't expect that. I forgot that I had ordered something like this. Very cool. Very cool. But I'm a fan of this. I'm trying to find stuff that's comfortable that I would wear, and that is something I would wear for sure. I like it. That's what I got. That's what I got for today. Are we? Oh boy, only an hour in. What's going on? Let's go back to the chat. Get in your thoughts about Sly Stone and Brian Wilson too, if you guys want to talk a little bit about them. Huge fan. Oh boy, they're tearing me up here. Is that a small white pillow again? Oh yes, the open. That's what I need to do. I need to do a small white pillow with the director's garage on it. Nephilim. Now I get it. It took me a minute. You got to hear it sometime. You're talking about the Amadeus. Only issue is you'll have to fit it in your budget after you listen to it. I know. It's a great headphone, that Amadeus. I'm a fan. We need to get you a knife sharpener. No, we don't, because I'll just cut myself. I have a knife sharpener upstairs. I've just been using this for so many years. It's probably due for a refresh. Wish you had the cash on hand to pick up the Amadeus without thinking, but bills come first. Yeah, and I'm like, I got it by B20. What I got to pay for? That's my lowest hanging. That's my first in, first out assignment. Any cash coming in goes to Mr. Ray Samuels. So I'm thinking about, that's why I'm thinking about selling the Abyss, because it would be a good chunk towards paying off this amp and get that off of my conscience. Really hate that. Nephilim says, me too, my hip friend. Don't want the wife and kid to be homeless. I know, so expensive, man, so expensive. Speaking of homeless, offers. Well, we have not gotten an offer on this home yet. We have held 3 open houses. I've had one visitor come through in 3 open houses now. It's unbelievable how slow things are here. But I did see that some stuff moved in the last 2 weeks. Some stuff got sold. So we're hopeful that that might be a sign that maybe some things are breaking loose here. We're hoping, boys. We're hoping. We're letting. We're hoping we can get this place moved so that I can move on. And I've got a job already, sort of waiting for me in Chattanooga if we can get out of L.A. In time. But that job's going to start on the 24th of July, and I need to get this house into escrow to move. I can't move for that job and maintain the job doesn't pay enough. So I can't keep paying on 2 mortgages at once with that job. That's a recipe for financial ruin. This house has to be in escrow, and then I can move and take whatever job is there. And that's unfortunate, but it's the reality. It would also cost me my marriage, because having Mrs. Director sit around here and host open houses while I'm working at a bare minimum job, entry-level position, is not a good plan for marriage either. So, we just have to take things in order here and hope it all comes out on time and it comes out well. So there's that. That's what I can tell you about it. The plan is to move. The house is on the market, just hasn't sold. I've got a job offer in Chattanooga, but it's an entry-level position, and so we've got to kind of be more realistic about what we're going to achieve, what's going to happen here. If you're trying to sell headphones, I could always do with a backup LCD-4. Yeah, mine's got a little alteration on it. It's got a wider headband. I love the LCD-4. It's hard for me to let go of. I've had it for sale at various points. I think I've asked for $2,100 for it, which is a little under what the market is asking. Market's asking about $24 on that headphone. But this is an older model, and it's got the modification, so I thought it does have a box. It does have a, it does come with a case, the hard, rigid case, which I love. That I got that with it. I don't know. I'd think about it, though. I think that's a headphone that I would think about selling, as much as I don't want to. I mean, I've got so many headphones here, fellas. I can lose a couple and I'll be just fine, I think. And if I ever miss it, I can always buy it back. I'm trying to find out where Howley is. He was under my feet for a while, and then he stomped off. I think he's on the corner of the room. Looking for the cat. Sometimes he just jumps up. You'd buy my Utopia 22. I don't have a Utopia 22, Neil. I never jumped into the Utopia. I think I've heard the Utopia and I liked it, but I didn't think it was a headphone that I needed to own. The mid-range on that gives me the same vibes as the Abyss. Like, it's got similar issues in the mids. It's a bright headphone. Just don't need that in my life. It's too much for me. Yeah, what do I have here? I have a Meze Elite. It's a good headphone. Got a whole bunch of pads for that. I could sell those. Kind of keeping my ZMFs. I don't want to get rid of the Atrium. I definitely am not selling the Atrium. The Caldera, maybe I could be talked into selling that because it is in the same lane as the Mod House and the Susvara. So it's kind of like overkill there, but it is a custom pair. I'd hate to get rid of that headphone. Susvara's staying. Just love it. It's my base. It's my go-to. I won't be selling the Susvara. Mod House is specific to me. It's got colors on the ear pads of like it was sent to me by. I think I got a discount on that headphone from Ryan, and cheers, Ryan. I mean, I don't think I'm getting rid of that headphone. Carbon 2, I want that. I could sell the X9000, but I wanted to get. That's another headphone I could get rid of. I could easily sell the X9000. It's top headphone, arguably the best E-stat in the bunch, and I still have the Carbon 2, which I like. Carbon 2 I could sell, maybe. Yeah, I mean, and I certainly would be on the upside of that on that headphone. But actually, no, I wouldn't, because I bought it. I think I paid retail for that headphone, and then I dumped another $1,000 into it to get to the Carbon 2. So, what am I going to sell it for? $4,000 if I'm lucky. Oh, man. Yeah, the stacks. I could probably sell my old stacks, my SR 007 Mark I. That's a classic. That's a beautiful headphone. I got that one all the way from Iceland. Things to think about, boys. Things to think about. But I don't think the Atrium I just love. The two headphones that I think are absolutely not moving, period, are the Atrium and the Susvara. I think anything else I could be talked into, although anybody who bought the Mod House would want to put grills on it, different grills on it immediately, because they have my colors, my show colors on it. I don't think anybody else is going to be into it. I just think it's quirky and love it, and I don't see a reason to let go of those. But I don't know. I suppose I could be talked into it, but somebody would want to replace the grills immediately. Think of what else I have here. I have the Noble. What is the Noble Viking Ragnar? I have that. It's my best IEM, but I could probably get rid of that. Could sell it off. I don't know. I have thoughts about that, though, what I would do. But, it's... You think I could get $4,500 for the Carbon 2? Yeah, but I mean, honestly, what can I get for the Stax SR X9000 right now? What do you think that would sell for? 4? Got to do that shootout. That's the thing. Got to do the shootout and sell the loser. That would be the thing to do. Maybe I'll start writing that this week and see if I can't get an episode squeezed out before we move. That would be fun. You guys are probably dying for another episode, a regular episode, instead of all this live shit. Cheers, everybody. I started trying to line up our next Hangover Hangout guest, and that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. I'm trying to do that in earlier May. I've got some feelers out. I kind of want to do a cable. Like, I want to get somebody who's a cable guru. And I've been trying to hook up with Trevor from Norn. It's hard to pin him down. I've been trying for a number of months on that. But I'd love to do a cable, a cable thing for, get a cable person in, talk to us about cables and the nuances of how they design a cable and what they're trying to do, and what sells well, what works well, what doesn't work well, that kind of thing. Just interested in that whole market. If I could find somebody to do it, that would be great. Trying Trevor, if you're out there, man, call me. I'm trying to book you, man. You think the XRX 9000s are going for 3,800? Might be able to get 4. I would do 4 on that. That would be fine. I mean, all this stuff you lose money on. I've lost money on everything, so why not lose the money on that too? I don't know that I need to keep the SRX 9000s here, but I got to do that shootout and make the loser sell. That would be that's. I love doing episodes where there are consequences. You know what I mean? I like having like something on the line when I do a shootout. It's fun to do it that way and make myself sell the one that it comes out of. It's kind of fun. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, let's finish up the chat and then we'll send you guys on your way for the rest of the week. Maybe we'll come back on later in the week if I've got time. Something happens. Something we want to talk about. Neil, is Fur still producing universal editions of the Radon 6? He's been that one and Empire's Odin for years. Yeah, the Odin was a bright headphone. I loved the amazing detail, but man, is that bright. Nephilim, my friend, speaking of my headphone collection, my next headphone will be the Bokeh Closed. I'm really loving closed back headphones these days, and his environment warrants it. Reasonable cost. Love that. And it is a reasonable cost. You get a lot for your money with that headphone. Gil, no idea. It was a limited run. Right now, we talked about that. Good idea. Stacks Farts Shootout. Who farts more? Who farts the loudest? Farts the best. The X9000 are going to be around 3,800. We said that. Talked about that. So far, that's $7,000 Canadian. Comment of the day from Nephilim. Cheers, my brother. That's great. I'm just saying that MC turntable sure looks nice. That's actually not a Mac. This is not a Macintosh turntable. It's just got a Macintosh color light behind it. And I did it because the Macintosh next to it, this is a Macintosh amp. So it's actually a VPI. It's an old VPI Scout with a very expensive cartridge on it. I love that turntable, and it did not cost me. I bought it used. It's an original VPI Scout. They've got many more versions of this that are higher end from this, and they went to an aluminum platter. I had a different word for that in my brain, but I just dodged it. But I happen to love the look of that, and I love the look of it with a little bit of light behind it. It's kind of fun. But I can change that light to anything because all I'm doing is I'm shooting one of these here guys. This is an aperture. I have these all over the studio. Got one over there, got one over there. That's what lights the top down on the camera. Where is it? Where'd it go? Yeah, top down. This top down camera. These are all colored. You can do color, you can do daylight, and it's all at the switch of. You can do daylight, and then you can change it to. If you're doing tungsten, this will give it an amber look, so you get kind of that warmer look out of them. These lights are invaluable. I have probably 6 or 7 of these things for what I do. But I love that you can, and then on top of that, if that's not enough, these things do effects, like simulate lightning. So if I want to do a lightning storm, you'd lower the lights and you would get this lightning storm effect. They do a TV, if you're trying to watch TV and you're trying to mimic like you're watching TV, this will give you a TV look. It'll give you a faulty bulb look, like something was zapping. Fireworks. Ooh. We got to turn off. Maybe I got to turn off the main light for this to have a full effect. Let's get darker. Oh, there we go. Ooh, add the sound effects. paparazzi. Please, please, people, please. You know, and you can adjust. All this stuff is adjustable too. And then this is one of my favorites. So the genius of this is the cop car. The geniuses of this is you get two of these doing the same thing, where it's shooting the red and blue, and it actually is a quite realistic effect. It actually works. But yeah, there you go. But these are that's what I use these for. So, but they do all kinds of colors and effects and stuff. So I shoot that into the put my green light back. I shoot that into the turntable, and it turns the platter whatever color I shoot it. So there you go. Stupid television tricks for 100, Alex. But it's nice though. Riders on the Storm. Yeah, right. Michael, I still love the AC/DC light. Yeah, you know, it was a CD bundle that came with the album Power Up, and I figured out that if you feed it a solid battery source, it will behave as if it's a light. Because normally it plays a little song from the normally it plays a song from the album, and then it just flickers for a few minutes and then it goes off. But if you feed it a constant battery source, it will stay on indefinitely until you take the power source off. So I thought back in the day when it happened, there's a couple of fun facts about this thing. First of all, it's too bright. Look how bright this is. It dominates. You can't even read it. So I cut a piece of film, ND film, and I put it in front of it, and it took the light level down. And so that's how it looked. That's how you could read the sign. Normally you couldn't read the sign. But I just played with it enough, and I thought it was a fun thing to have in the background. And I'm an AC/DC fan, and they're one of my favorite groups, so why not? Sun goes nuts when it plays music out of it. Yeah, Shot in the Dark riff. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I've altered it a little bit, and I figured out how to make it stay on. That was the other things so my whole show, and it's a big battery pack. It'll drive that thing for days, and without running out. I'm a sucker for colorful lights. I know. I love television effects. I'm a television person. I'm a junkie. How can I take something simple and use it to my advantage in an interesting way? You know, that's what we do. Is the X9000 good for female vocals? Outstanding for female vocals. Outstanding for female vocals. Yeah, crazy good. It's great for classical, female vocals, acoustic music. It's just not the headphone that I would reach if I was listening to AC/DC. You know what I mean? It's like it's very precise sound with an extended top end, fantastic sound stage. One of the best sound stages in all of Headphonia, for sure, and great imaging. Have you listened to the Enmeze Empyrean 2? Joe Biden, TTV, I'm glad you joined us today, and I'm honored, Mr. President. Cheers to you, my friend. Could have used a few of those drinks. The Empyrean 2 I heard at the Can Jam SoCal last year. I listened to it. I thought it was good, but it wasn't anything that made me go, oh, I need to sell my Elite. It's nothing I had to have. I thought it was nice. I thought it was a good sound. I was in a show environment too, not the best listening environment, admittedly. I thought they were okay, but it was nothing that made me like, I have to have these. There were some sounds at that show that I was like, I had to have these. Although it's not, I have concerns, the Amanis is a no-brainer for I've got to have this. Like you listen to that and it's like, wow, would I love to have this around to listen to, and that's a fantastic headphone, and I would love to get that in for review. That's a reviewable headphone. I really want to have it. The Empyrean 2, I'd probably get it from Audio 46. There's enough of them around by now. But I've listened to it. I thought it was a good headphone. It was nothing that made me want to run out and sell the farm to get one. I didn't feel like I had to have it. The Carbon 2 was worth getting. The Carbon 2 was a no-brainer, especially with the upgrade plan. Absolutely fantastic. And if you like e-stats, to me, that might be the best e-stat. I have to do this review, and I really want to do a fair, honest comparison and walk away from it with either keeping the X9000 or the Carbon 2. I have to make that decision. Both have merit. Both have merit. Just different, slightly different lanes. Like both companies, too. So there you go. All right, fellas, I'm going to wrap it up here because, you know, we've got nothing else to talk about. I dumped on you. We had a good episode, though. We talked about Brian Wilson, and we talked about Sly Stone, two legendary performers. We also talked... Oh, I didn't tell you about the Director's Garage store. If you didn't know, and you were interested in any of these tchotchkes, this is my line, my merch line. The Music is Life stuff. Got t-shirts like this one, hats, hoodies. Just showed off my hoodie for the first time here. You need to go to directorsgarage.com. I have a .com, which I think is kind of cool. And that's and I didn't get any email. Well, I didn't do my email today either, but whatever. We'll just skip that for this week. Go to the directorsgarage.com, and you're going to click on the let's see, let's tie, and then I can go to, what do I got to do to do this? I've got to go here. Sorry, I'm figuring out how to technically do something. Oh, I don't have it up. Never mind. You go to the directorsgarage.com, and then you just click on buy now, and you get to the store, the Director's Garage store. And I had a graphic up for that, but apparently I messed it up somewhere. So forget it. Not happening, boys. Not happening today. Just gonna have to live without it. All right. And anyway, so that's where you get the stuff. That's where you get the goods. And yeah, still waiting on getting the polos in. Still don't have a polo vendor. And Neil, I'll try to get you a stitched version of this. I'll look for a vendor that'll do a stitched version of this. I do like the quality of this. It's a very heavy, nice hoodie, though. Tip your waiters and waitresses, says JTB. Cheers, guys. Yeah, and I'll let you know. I'll come on as soon as I have something of note on this move. I'll let you guys know, and maybe we'll get an episode out. Maybe I'll start moving towards getting a new episode of the formal episode of the Director's Garage out. I do owe you guys a shootout between the Carbon 2 and the X9000. That's going to be part 2 of that X9000 unboxing and all that stuff that we did before. So, love the headphone though. It's a great headphone. I'll start out with right there and leave it at that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you guys before you know it. Cheers, everybody.
Happy hour, people. Let's hang out and get wasted at the Director's Garage. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, it's time to get juiced at the... It's time.